Welcome. You are watching True Crime Code. Mystery meets machine. If you're new here, don't forget to subscribe and turn on notifications for weekly deep dives. Also, I'd like you to hit that like button. Let's get into it.
August 8, 1963. A mail train quietly snakes its way through the English countryside. It's just past 3 a.m. Rain taps against the windows. Most of the crew inside are half asleep. Suddenly, the train jerks. Brakes scream. Lights go dead. Silence. Then, the sound of boots thundering on gravel. Voices shouting in the dark. A gang of masked men swarm the train. In just under 30 minutes, they will vanish with the modern equivalent of over $60 million. No gunshots. No casualties. No digital footprints. Just a single legendary heist that remains one of the boldest crimes in British history. Welcome to True Crime Code. This is the story of the Great Train Robbery. The Royal Mail train was traveling from Glasgow to London, carrying letters, parcels, and most importantly, bags of cash from Scottish banks. It was standard procedure. The train ran this route routinely, loaded with high-value cargo that was poorly guarded. But in 1963, a criminal mastermind named Bruce Reynolds saw an opportunity. Reynolds was a smooth-talking, jazz-loving thief with a taste for high-stakes robberies. Along with his trusted associates, Buster Edwards, Ronnie Biggs, Charlie Wilson, and others, he assembled a gang of 15 men to pull off something no one thought possible. Bruce Reynolds was quoted saying in a later interview, "It wasn't just about the money, it was about beating the system, pulling the perfect job." The crew meticulously studied the train route, its timing, and even bribed an insider to provide logistical support. They even rented a farmhouse, Leatherslade Farm, as a hideout. Their target was clear. The high-value package car of the train, expected to hold over 2.6 million pounds, equivalent to around $60 million today. In the early hours of August 8, 1963, the gang set their plan in motion. They tampered with the railway signals near Bridego Bridge, changing the green light to red. As the train stopped in confusion, the robbers sprang into action. Dressed in military fatigues and armed with crowbars and imitation weapons, they stormed the locomotive. Driver Jack Mills tried to resist. He was struck on the head with a metal bar and knocked unconscious. The gang detached the first two carriages and used a substitute driver, trained for weeks beforehand, to move the train half a mile down the track to the waiting bridge. There, they manually unloaded 120 mailbags filled with cash, passing them down a human chain into waiting vehicles. They didn't fire a single shot. No alarms were triggered. In just 30 minutes, they were gone, vanished into the foggy countryside. News report the next day read, "A gang of masked men has stolen over 2 million pounds from a Royal Mail train, in what police are calling the largest theft of its kind." The British public was stunned. How could a team of criminals outwit an entire national system? Scotland Yard launched Operation Robbery, assembling the best detectives in the country. Clues were few, but a critical mistake changed everything. The robbers had planned to burn down Leatherslade Farm after laying low, but they panicked and abandoned it. When police raided the property, they found beds, maps, food supplies, fingerprints, even the board game Monopoly played with real stolen money. A detective said, "They nearly pulled off the perfect crime." Nearly. But arrogance left a trail. Using forensic evidence and informants, detectives began rounding up suspects. Bruce Reynolds fled to Mexico with his family, evading capture for 5 years. Ronnie Biggs escaped prison in 1965 and fled to Brazil, becoming an international fugitive and media icon. In total, 12 of the 15 gang members were eventually arrested and sentenced to up to 30 years in prison. A news reporter said, "The Great Train Robbery case captivated a generation and sparked debates about crime, justice, and celebrity." While many of the robbers were caught, the money was never fully recovered. Only about 400,000 pounds of the total haul was traced. The rest vanished without a trace. Some was likely laundered, buried, or lost forever. Public fascination with the robbers turned them into folk heroes. Ronnie Biggs, in particular, became a cult figure, recording songs with the Sex Pistols and appearing in interviews from exile. Biggs, in a Brazilian TV interview, said, "I didn't hurt anyone. I just took the money. The system's rigged anyway." Others weren't so lucky. Charlie Wilson was murdered in Spain in 1990. Buster Edwards ran a flower stall before committing suicide in 1994. Bruce Reynolds returned to the UK and was arrested in 1968. He served 10 years and later authored a book about the heist. Their lives after the robbery became part of the legend. Books, films, documentaries, and still unanswered questions. Where is the missing money? Was there more help from the inside? Could something like this ever happen again in the digital age? The Great Train Robbery wasn't just a crime. It was a challenge to the system, a statement, a performance, a blueprint. But in the end, no heist is ever truly perfect. Every legend leaves a trace. Here at True Crime Code, we decode the past to understand the patterns, the people, and the possibilities. And sometimes, the biggest mysteries lie not in who did it, but in what they left behind.
Because every forgotten case reminds us of the thousands of lives cut short, the voices left unheard, and the cold truths waiting just beneath the surface. This is True Crime Code. Mystery meets machine. Don't forget to subscribe.